Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Demon Crawl, where today we're going to be exploring some of the weirder parts of the game. You know, weirder than the stuff we already saw. First of all, we're going to try a little bit of Beyond here. I've only done this once or twice. It seems like it's a shorter thing than the normal quests, and I have no idea why it costs artifacts or if putting in different artifacts does different stuff. Frankly, I have no idea how this all works. So we're just going to try some things here. I'm going to put in things that we have the most of, and then we can put in an emblem. Apparently I have a couple. So Cosmic Hysteria causes us to gain a random item from each category, which includes omens, but your prize box will contain one extra item. I assume the prize box is what we get if we win. All stages gain the Apocalyptic mod, which I don't know what it does. Is that one we've seen? Oh, I think the Apocalyptic mod is the one that makes all of the Harbingers of the Apocalypse appear. Those are like NPCs that give you negative effects when things happen. We also gain the Halo and the Cudgel. The Cudgel lets you kill NPCs. I don't remember what the Halo does. Or the Midnight Voyage. All stages gain the Dark mod, and you get the Lantern, and your prize box will contain one extra item. The Dark mod just makes it so we can't see. That's probably not like a huge surprise from the name. But you just have like a little area of light around the cursor. That doesn't sound so bad. What was this one? We'll have an omen at the start of the run? No great mind has ever existed without a touch of madness. You know what? I'm out here making Demon Crawl videos for YouTube. I'm feeling that. So, what mastery do we want to bring in here? Like I said, I think I remember this being shorter. So if we bring a mastery that has a very long third ability, we probably won't get to use it. I don't know exactly how many stages we're talking about, though. Wizards may be interesting. Reduce incoming damage by your number of omens, and when you enter a stage, remove a stage mod for each of your omens. Oh yeah, actually, you know what? Hold on. Let's go see. This sounds pretty cool. Let's go see if we could buy level 3 of this mastery. I don't know if I have it unlocked. Which 3? I do not have it unlocked. I would have to have at least 15 omens by completing a quest in normal or above. That seems very difficult. Oh, interesting. The ability that gets unlocked is gain a random omen. So I guess we wouldn't really want that anyway. What could we buy an upgrade to? We could buy Survivor 2. We could not buy Scholar 3. Complete a quest in normal or above with 7 or more status effects at the moment of your victory. I assume that means. That's a pretty tough one to do. We can unlock Snowflake 2. This has to do with frozen cells. I don't think that doesn't seem that good. Exorcist. Destroy the first omen you receive. Whenever you lose an omen, gain a soul. Destroy a random omen, but that has a 6-stage charge time, so that's unlikely to be meaningful. Begin the quest with an extra revive and 1 less max life, but whenever you are revived, double your lives. You know, Immortal could be good. We would never actually gain the benefit of Immortal 3, so it's not worth buying the upkeep, but maybe, or the upgrade, but maybe that's what we want to do. Going with Immortal 2. Let's do that. I was going to put in, like, these, probably, and also Cosmic Hysteria, and then, Immortal... Here we go. Yeah. 1 extra life, 1 less life, but 1 revive, and then we double our lives when we die. Okay. So, that's the omen that we got right there. Spawn a canker, and all of your orbs move erratically. When we click on the canker, we're going to take 1 damage. The water boys are more common. Oh, good. The consumable we got was get extra life. The bubble rod is a terrible magic item. We got very unlucky here, I feel like. Ooh, but the Resolute Horn is great. Gain 1 soul for each visible heart drop when you complete the stage. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. We're going to click on this canker at some point, by the way. It's just like, it's just going to jump under my cursor eventually. Alright. So, a Mystic Statue. I can't remember if we've seen a Mystic Statue before, but the way this works is, if we click this, we'll go to another, it'll like restart the stage with, presumably, a huge amount more rare loot, and then if we finish that extra version of the stage, it will give us the reward. We probably want to take that on. I hate this canker. It's making me so nervous. I'm just going to click on it on purpose. Let's just get rid of it. We're going to click on it eventually. Oh, no. The sign got bubbled. Now it's going to always be wherever. We're not going to click on that. Because obviously we would love the soul. Remember, with the way that our revive thing works, it really, really matters that we upgrade our number of lives before we die here. So that's got to be top priority. We're going to leave heart drops. The horn, like, I think we got totally screwed on most of our items, but that horn is incredibly good. And honestly, the omen we got is a pretty minor omen. We could have done way worse there. Alright, what do we got? We got unequip and repair all your armor. Okay, that's potentially a useful effect. Obviously not right this second. Actually, that marks all of that stuff. So I do want to apologize a little bit for yesterday's episode. I don't know what happened, man. I was feeling all right. I was feeling, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed when I started. That's a weird phrase. When I started recording, and then I don't know what happened, but I just got hit by a wave of exhaustion. I don't want to say the thing that I'm thinking right now, but you probably, if you're as stressed about the state of the world as I am, you're probably thinking the same thing. The world's a scary place right now, for some people. Okay, this has been a straightforward sort of thing here. Also, I gotta tell you, I'm very glad to be playing Demon Crawl right now. One's already solved. So one of these two is a monster, which means this one isn't, except that I donked it somewhere. No, one of these two is a monster, which means that one must be. That's... yeah. That's bad. And I fight too many cells. Of course I screwed up somewhere. Well... let's see if we can find it quickly. What I was gonna say is, I just need something that's cool and relaxing right now, because I have had an incredibly stressful day of recording so far. Here it is. Here it is. Somehow I marked it there. Okay, all three of these are right, which means this is not a monster. Alright, well, it would have been really cool if we could have gotten that extra life before the revive happened. Whenever you make a mistake, increase the maximum power of all other stages, but every 50 cells you open without making a mistake, decrease the maximum power of all other stages. Also, I should have just clicked the bubbles on the last stage before leaving it. We're not going to go to the shop yet, because I don't feel confident we'll be able to buy anything meaningful. Yeah, I just ooh, this is the thing. So, this right here is the situation that I was describing when I said sometimes you get totally screwed by clicking away from the wall. I don't know if we're going to be able to get any information at all out of this, are we? Let's see. This situation where you have 121 in the corner is not solvable by the wall, but it at least gives you some information. Here, where it's potentially the case that the monster is here and here for the ones, gives you no information at all. Actually, I guess it couldn't be the case that both of the outside corners are monsters, because that would mean that this is the only place where there could be a monster to satisfy the two. But that by itself doesn't give us enough to say that any cell is or is not filled. Okay, what about... No, and the 212 is usually something you can get something out of, but not when the twos are in corners, and the wraparound could be anywhere. So what we know is that at most one of these is a monster, but possibly neither. So either one or two of these is a monster. Yeah, I don't think you can tell anything from this. We spent our free no monster click and got 0 information. How about you give me a little bit of clarity? Gave me a little, sure, a little bit, very little bit. What a little bit that was. Well, none of the rest of our items do anything. I'm gonna eat this candy. And then we're gonna just click around the ones that we flagged. Okay, there we go. Looking for something like that so that we could have some hope of getting something done. Okay, so this is useful. We know this because at most one of these three can be a monster. Gives us that. It's like the worst case scenario in the corner still gives you a little bit of information. The worst case scenario in the middle of the puzzle gives you no information at all. And I don't know exactly what the level of commonality of those two worst case scenarios is. So it's possible that even though the thing I just said is definitely true, it still is better to click away from the corner at the beginning. But it feels really bad. Alright, one of these two is a monster, so that one can't be. Anyway, I was saying that it's just been a real stressful recording day so far. Sometimes video games are hard. I don't know if you knew that. And so I was planning on just having a real nice, relaxing day of Demon Crawl over here, and this has already been a total nightmare. You know, in some ways, it's a nightmarish game. And I meant Demon Crawl, but really, it's true of Minesweeper as well. If you really think about it, Minesweeper is, like, very dark, like, incredibly dark. It's the original Dante's Inferno. Muscle is fine. Muscle's an okay item. We are definitely, by the way, going to remember to knock all the stuff out of the bubbles at the end of the stage so that we don't carry all this garbage with us into the next stage. Let's see, we know that is a thing because the 4... you're solved already. I mean, obviously I'm overstating how bad this is. I am very frustrated, though, with myself for having lost the revive already when our items combine in such a beautiful way, so as to make that double your lives on revive thing so incredibly powerful, and I just squandered it, man. It's alright, we're not going to fixate on our failures. I'm a big proponent of the idea that failure is instructive, which is a thing that you'll know if you've been around the channel for a while. So you do have to think about your failures. You can't just throw them in a drawer deep in your mind, never to be seen again. But at the same time, it's really easy to fixate and let the fact that you failed prevent you from learning anything. We must not do that. So, one of these three is a monster. One of these three is a monster. That doesn't... Okay, hold on. Two of these three are monsters, but at most one of these two can be because of that 2. So this is, which solves this 2, which gives us this, which solves this 2. And this 2. And this 1. Look at all the solutions. The numbers, they're flying, man. Okay, 2 of these 3 are monsters. We don't get to make the same deduction because it's 3s instead of 2s here. Okay, here we know this, because 2 of these 3 must be monsters, but at most one of these 2 can be. And we know that exactly one of these 2 is, which means that one can't be. We also know that one of these 2 is a monster to satisfy that 2, which means this one is solved. And that one is solved as well. And this chest contains something awesome? Well, 6 money. It's not awesome, exactly. It's not bad. Alright. We are in a place where we could die on a guess, is that right? Yes. We're not likely to die on a guess, but we could. And obviously, there's a heart down, but it wouldn't, it'd be so much better if we didn't take it. And we just got a soul from it instead. So, what else can we deduce here? 2 of these 3 are monsters. So that one is? No, that's not. Sorry, that's not solid. Because 2 of those, and 2 of these, and 2 of those. No, sorry. Only one of these is a monster, because this 3 is partially solved already, which means that totally is a monster. And now it is the case that 2 of these must be monsters, but only one of these can be. So we know that as well. One of these 2 is a monster, which which means one of these two is a monster. That doesn't necessarily help us solve that 3. But I think we're in a place where we do have to guess, and we don't have any items that help us with guessing. The horrible crime of guessing. Oh, we know this is not a monster, right? The 3s tell us one of these is, which means this 2 says one of these is, which means this 2 says that can't be. 2 of these are, so that one must be... Yeah, that's solid. And then... one of these is a 2. One of these is a monster. So this 2 is solved, which makes that a monster. There we go, that's a crack. That's a seam. He made an error. He made an error somewhere. 2, 2, 2... Bad. This is a bad. I did a bad. Well, you know what? That's fine. We're just going to give that one more try. Do you see how few stages it was? It's no time at all to play one of these. We're just going to throw some items in there. I don't know if the tokens that you use generate, or sorry, these things that you use, the artifacts, actually have an effect on the levels. We're going to throw the Midnight Voyage mod in there. And we're just going to try this again. And this time we're going to start with the lantern, which gleans cells. Oh, I love it when cells are gleaned. And I didn't even think about it. We went Immortal again. Immortal's still probably good. Okay, it's very dark here, so all the stages are going to work like this, where we have limited visual range. We found a torch. Hey, that's very on theme. Also, a forge hammer. Cool. Heck yeah, he says. So, we could use our lantern immediately, and I guess we should. I was gonna say, we might want to save it because we want it to be available when we get stuck, but it only has 90, it only needs 90 mana to refill. So we're not going to interact with that just yet. We're going to go try to do parts of the puzzle that are already lit as much as we can. And we're just going to continue gleaning garbage over there until we have like half of the puzzle basically solved. I don't know if that's the best way to use the item. That seems intuitive to me. Let's see. That's a solve. I will say that it doesn't feel like the Darkness mod should actually increase difficulty by much. Consume 3 items before the end of the stage to find a tablet. Probably not happening. But probably there are situations where you lose just enough information beyond the edges of the light that it makes it tricky to deduce things. So, lantern. That's a very powerful group of cells we just revealed there. They're done already, which means this. Alright, hold on. Let's go work up here a little bit. The lantern actually recharges remarkably quickly for an item that is as powerful as this. So we're probably going to want to like really abuse the heck out of that. Okay, that was a pretty good open there. So one of these two is, which means that one can't be. That's solved already. Okay, I think all we have left is this area down here. One of those two is, so this one can't be. That doesn't necessarily tell us a lot. This can't be a monster, so only one of these two is, which means that one is, which solves all this stuff backwards. Cool. And now this area is going to be relatively easy, because we have all this information already. That was the hope. Alright. Hey, we got one of them done, right? That's a good sign. One of them, and I didn't even make any huge errors. We only have 11 coins, so I think I kind of want to push on. Whenever you take damage, lose defense. And of course, yeah, dark. We know dark. Yeah, I think just push on. So let's start by clicking. We could use the lantern first. I'm not actually sure how... Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I was going to say, I'm not sure how mana generation works with that first click, because obviously there's some stuff going on behind the scenes there, in the sense that like it very clearly doesn't generate the puzzle until after you've clicked the first time, so as to make sure that your first click is always perfectly safe. So it would have been weird. I guess it could very well have just generated the puzzle when you used the item. If you used an item where the puzzle had to be generated for the item to make sense. So it's not like an intractable problem. His music is, like, kind of relaxing. I can feel my blood pressure lowering slightly. Just ever so slightly. If you're not following ehT on Twitter, I would recommend following ehT on Twitter. He's a weird, he's a real weird online presence, especially for a guy who's as famous as he is. Plus, if you don't follow him on Twitter, you're never going to see pictures of his metal band, so... one time, ehT tweeted, "Video game problems are not real problems, but it sure feels like they are." I think about that a lot. First of all, the fact that it was ehT who said it, which is just like a kind of a weird thing. But also, you know, just like try not to stress out too much about this imaginary stuff that's happening is what I take from it. I don't know if that's what he meant. One assumes. It almost has to be, but you can't know. Alright, so this one is solved. We can click around here, and our lantern is charged. Hooray. Let's glean some more stuff in this area. Yeah. You can't know if that's what he meant, but it's probably what he meant. But yeah, it is hard sometimes to have a bad day in a video game and then just like separate yourself from it and be like, no, it's fine. This literally doesn't matter. Okay, you're solved already. Something cool? Something that's... I mean, 9 coins is fine. It's hard to be mad about opening a chest and finding money, but you can't shake the knowledge that it's definitely not as good as what you could have gotten. And what if I had just gotten something that was, like, you know, better? What if I got something that was actually good? Okay, that lantern is going to be a total godsend for us. What an extremely good item. I cannot believe that it has only a 90 mana charge time.
Hey, kid.
Oh no. We are not going to pay this bagman because we need our money, and we're totally not going to click on any monsters. If we get into a situation where it's looking like we're going to have to make a guess, we will consider paying the bagman. Okay, one of those two is a monster, so... let's see, we know that's a monster. This is solved, which means we know that's a monster, which gives us some more information over here. I should probably open the chest right away. It's very likely that opening the chest is a positive value action, so you should probably do it. You're solved already. That has to be the case. Yeah, we could lantern up here. That 4 is good already. This 2 is solved. Thank you, Gleans. It's an awfully powerful mechanic. You know, this game is all about information, so any mechanic that causes you to get more information than you would otherwise have is a very big deal. Reveal and apply burning to random hidden cells until you land on one without a monster. So you want to throw the Molotov at times when you are particularly monster dense. The larger the percentage of the remaining cells that are monsters, the larger the likelihood that you will get multiple cells revealed off of that. So that's good. Then that solves that. Now we just have the bottom part of the puzzle, if I'm not mistaken. Although, you know, real easy to... Wow, I said bottom part. I was thinking like a couple of lines. Okay, we still have a huge amount of puzzle left. It turns out. I didn't sound excited, but I should have. You should understand that when there's a lot more puzzle left, I'm like, yeah, woo puzzle. You hear the tone of my voice? Do you hear that excitement? The exuberance? Uh-oh. Alright, here's where we use our other magic item. Reveal me this cell. It was a monster. That's kind of what I thought it was going to be. Oh, well that's a lot of information. That didn't help that much. Uh-oh, now we're in Guessing Town. Guessing Town, population, us. You and me, together. Together we will see this through. So if we're going to guess, I think we want to guess around that 1 over there. One of these two is a monster, so one of those two is, one of these two and one of those two. There's a lot of places where it could be one monster or it could be 2 monsters. One of these 3 is... Yeah, alright, I think this is the spot. So one of these 2, one of these 2, one of these 5. These 3 cells, I think, are the ones we have available that are the least likely to be monsters. Okay. In fact, we know for a fact that none of these 3 can be, and none of these either. Because this 1 tells us that one of those 2 is. Well, we managed to make very little information there. We are 2 mana off of this. Of course, we can't guarantee that mana will go into the lantern, because it can go into the torch now instead. But one of these 2 is a monster, so we know these 2 can't be. There's my lantern. Oh, my sweet, sweet lantern. Alright, we got a 0. That's a big, big hit. As they say in the business, that's a bingo. Those, that solves this. Let's see. That's also solved. There we go. Look at how much is opening up because of that. Because of a little bit of smart lantern usage. The fact that... Okay, one of these 2 is a monster, so that one can't be, which solves this edge of the puzzle, and actually solves this part of the puzzle too. There we go, we're getting it. We definitely have enough money to go visit the shop, which is nice. Thing I'm looking forward to. We don't need a whole ton more for this run to be very powerful. Any source of extra hearts before we manage to spend our resolve is going to be kind of a big deal. So if we can just acquire something like that, it would be neat. I think we've picked everything up. I'm pretty sure. And hey, we leveled up. Hooray. 2 more tokens. It takes so long to earn things at the token shop. Barbed Dark Delta is completed. Let's visit the first stage, or the first shop, rather. Ooh, the Wand of Retribution is definitely exciting. Discharges after you take damage, kills all visible monsters. It's a powerful thing, but the odds are at this point that if we take damage, we're going to instantly die. So I guess the timing of this effect is going to matter a lot. It's possible that we will gain the extra lives before the revive fires. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work, but we're definitely going to buy it. And then that is a heal that unlocks the selected stage. So that's... I don't think that's worth taking. And you know what? We're going to visit the second shop too, because we don't have a lot of time left. That doesn't do anything for us. Whenever you consume an item, gain coins equal to half its value. Spawn random loot whenever a monster dies. You know what? I'm taking this Book of Combat, because our Wand of Retribution is going to kill monsters, right? Oh, that's a Chaos font. We're actually at the end already. This is darkened, so I thought it was still unavailable to us, but no, it's just always that color. The Elemental Communist Island. So the elemental cells, we're not allowed to open our inventory. Ooh, that's no good. We really need to open our inventory. Well, we're gonna probably get money on the stage itself, but I think we should maybe not go to the shops, because we need to be able to open our inventory. I'd like to open it pretty close to the beginning of the stage, so yeah, we're just gonna go in here with our 5 coins. Okay, this is gonna suck a little bit. Oh no, it's Burgles! I don't think I've ever seen Burgles before. He looks a little bit like a Tonberry. So lose a random item whenever a dark heart is collected. Whenever you make a mistake, lose items equal to the number of visible dark hearts. Oh wow. If you would lose an item but your inventory is empty, take a damage. And we got the bad... Oh boy. Oh boy, everything's terrible today. I think Burgles is going to kill us. Lose a random item when a dark heart is collected. Okay. Alright. Burning, freezing, and electric cells. So the electric cells, remember, they double the effect of whatever happens in them. The frozen cells are just frozen, they're just uninteractable. The burning cells deal damage to you if you touch them. And the burning effect kills monsters, so I think it might be the case that burning cells can't contain monsters. I really wish I knew what this number was, because that plus the 3 plus the 1 could give us some information. This number being covered also is really screwing me. So if we assume that it's right that burning cells can't contain monsters, that actually flags this 2 out, but it doesn't help me. Yeah, whenever you open a 3x3, it's just an absolute nightmare. Well, so we have to guess right away, and we probably die, and I'm gonna throw the Molotov, because I'm desperate. Yeah, Molotov burnt 1 cell. Cool. Where is it? That was pretty likely to happen. It just means the first cell it hit did not have a monster. Oh, but it was an empty cell, so it does give us an opening. Okay, I can work with that. We know this is a monster, we know these are not monsters, because one of these 2 has to be. Which means that is a monster, which means this is open, which means we can now open our inventory again whenever the lantern charges. One of these 2 is, which means that one's not, but we can't afford to touch it. One of these 2 is, and so is this one. In some cases, we're just going to have to remember when we know that a cell is a monster. Or isn't a monster. So one of these 4 is... That doesn't... Oh no, sorry. One of these 2 is. We know this one's not. We also know that one's not. But because we can't open it, it's not really giving us the information we need. Well, since we know this one's not, we know this one is. Thanks to these ones. Yeah, the fact that we just can't afford to open... the burning cells really hurts. I could open one of them, I suppose. The Wand of Retribution would fire, though. And right now there are no visible monsters, because the boss doesn't count as a monster. Also, I can't believe the boss hasn't eaten that dark heart yet. Okay, that's interesting. It doesn't necessarily tell me anything, actually. Because the monster to complete the 3 could be here, and the 1 monster could be there. Yeah, that sucks. Okay. Back over here to this nightmare. To the other nightmare. You know, the one we're already working on. One of you 2 is a monster. One of these 3 is a monster. One of these 3 is a monster. Ah! What a nightmare. We're gonna have to guess. I was just making sure that I hadn't forgotten. That the thing hadn't readied without me noticing. Okay, great mess. Excellent mess. Excellent guess, rather. So, we did just charge our... or we did just discharge our Wand of Retribution. It happened after the revive, so we went to 5 lives. So now there's only 2 monsters left around this. We know this isn't one. It's probably not helpful for us to click on it. We could click on something. Where is it going to matter? This one might matter. It didn't. If this had been a 1, that would have been information. Yeah, the fact that that didn't work is a real... Ugh. Erg. So we made a monster. Or we made a mistake. So we lost some items, but we can't open our inventory to look at the items. We know that we only have 1 item that we can use. That's what the 1 down here means, and it's that hammer. So we know we don't have a lantern to fire, which means we lost our lantern, probably. Yeah, we have to just, make some guesses, unfortunately. Oh, we did not lose our lantern. Well, I will absolutely spend 5 gold to open the inventory for the lantern. We did not, sadly, find even a single 0. But we know for the 3 that one of these is a monster, so that does give us some solves. The boss just collected that dark heart up there finally. One of these 2 is a monster. Solves this. Nope. If one of these 2 is a monster... Oh. It was not the case that one of these had to be, because this could be the monster for that too. And I guess we know that it is now. Well, that is definitely a case where we got burned by the darkness a little bit. So you're solved, you're solved. It is nice to be working in a part of the puzzle that's away from the boss. Okay, we know that is a monster, right? Because of the 3 and the 2 interaction here. And this also cannot be a monster. So that is a monster, which solves this 3, and also that 2. But because we can't officially flag the cell, it doesn't mark it as solved, which means we don't... We're just going to have to remember that that's... I mean, it's a burning cell. It's not a monster, we know it. We don't really have to remember that. Also, hey look! 2 coins! Awesome. I think it's the first time we've gotten an electric cell to do anything. You are a monster for sure, so these 2s are solved, as is this 1. So that's not a monster, of course. This does make it... Not being able to click on a huge percentage of the cells does make it more complicated, even when we do know the contents of those cells. Okay. So 1 cell around you is a monster, it must be that one. Solves this too. We know this, we know this. There's so much puzzle left. This puzzle is absolutely huge. I don't know what number is under that dark heart, which is really bad. You're not a monster. But for this 3, one of these 2 must be a monster. This cell tells us which one it is. If we touch this, we die, though. You can just collect dark hearts yourself, but you lose 1 life for each of them. And we are already at 1. I think we're just doomed here. This combination of stage modifiers really sucks. Oh, actually, we know that's a monster. No. We don't. Do we? Okay, we do know that that's not a monster, so we know this must be. That can't be, so that is. So that solves this 1. Okay, so none of these are, which makes this a monster. Somehow our lantern's still in our inventory. We've held on to almost nothing else. Let's see. Right here. Ooh, 0s. 0s are a happy place. So it certainly seems to be the case that burning cells cannot contain monsters. You occasionally get a stage mod that says the stage contains burning cells and also their monsters cannot be in burning cells, but it's worded in such a way, it's worded that way, so it makes it sound like the fact that monsters cannot be in burning cells is part of the stage modifier, which would not be the case, obviously, if it were normally true. So I blame my confusion on that one on that tooltip. So 2 of these are monsters. That means this must be, and these cannot be. You're not a monster, so you must be to satisfy the 2. In a way, having only this tiny little bit of visibility to work in is helping me stave off panic at the amount of the puzzle that we haven't finished yet. But in another way, it's really like driving home an awful lot of suspense about how much more puzzle there is. Okay, you're a monster. The burning thing is helpful. Here, we are definitely getting information that we would not have otherwise had. Okay, that can't be a monster because all these 2s are already satisfied, so this must be. This must be. Okay. This combination of this being covered and these both being iced is really annoying. It makes it so hard to be certain of anything in that corner. Okay, 3 of these 4 are. Does that tell me? No, that doesn't tell me anything. That doesn't tell me a single thing. Okay, one of these. No, we already knew. We already knew that this was not a monster because it's on fire. Monsters, much like the rest of us, do not like to be on fire. Who would have thought? Maybe we can all get along. Like, you have to take it as a starting point, right? What else do we have in common? You don't like to be on fire. I don't like to be on fire. I'm sure both of our mothers' names are Martha, so, you know, it's basically like we're the same. I'm Jesus and you're a man who is a bat or something, but that makes us the same. Boy. Yeah, I don't think we can deduce a whole lot here. Which is a bad thing. It's a bad time. And we can't even click a cell. Oh, hey, that's a thing we know. So this must be a monster, so this 2 is solved. This 2 is also solved. I can't click on that chest to get whatever cool stuff is inside. That's a bummer. That's a monster. This is a monster. The 121. I actually just clicked the wrong... Like, I knew that was a monster. I said the 121. I had it in my head that that was a monster, and I literally just... Like, my hand twitched, and I clicked the wrong mouse button. The leatherback of sadness kept my bones as a memento. I suppose that's the best we could have hoped for. I will say this. I don't feel too bummed out about it, because I think our chances of making it through the rest of that puzzle without making a single mistake are basically 0. Alright. We're going to do one more thing before we get out of here. We're not going to try another one of those. I'm going to talk about the plot a little bit. So I've been kind of cagey about it, and I probably, in my zeal to not have the weird surprise ruined, have built up the idea of the plot of this game a little bit more than it ought to be built up, because it's not like some kind of big, far-reaching thing. But it is quite weird for the game to have a plot at all, right? So, when you start the game, you start with just the normal difficulty unlocked, and probably casual as well. And it's like, the king has tasked you with the delivery of an important message to a land across the great waters, and you've probably noticed that a lot of the levels have sort of a fantasy-type description. Obviously, there's a lot of procedural generation going on. And then you start the second quest, and you're like, years have gone by in the flash of an eye, the glory days are long behind you, like... What exactly is going on in here? How exactly did your adventure end? Do I have amnesia now? Or what on earth is going on here? Your quiet farm life has been interrupted by a strange new evil, and it kind of seems like it's just doing a fantasy roguelite kind of story, right? The kingdom has fallen. Shadows run rampant across the lands. You and I both know that's not true, right? You're awake now, in a strange place. Let the real adventure begin. And what on earth is going on here? It's becoming more difficult to distinguish between reality and fiction. And keep in mind the way you would be receiving this normally. At the beginning, only number 1 is open, and you can't even click on these. You have to complete mission 1, and then doing that unlocks the ability to buy, not mission quest, buy quest 2 in the shop for tokens. You go do that, and then you can click on this. So you're reading these descriptions probably at the very least several hours apart as you stumble through the game systems, learning what's going on. You don't get to just fire through them rapid fire like this. So this is weird. Know this, my friend. The machine is real. You're not getting a lot of information in the interim. It's not, this would not be any more illuminated to you if you had played through this properly. It's just like, what? The machine? What on earth are you talking about? It powers our world. Not many have seen behind the curtain, and many don't want to. They are afraid to learn what lies below. And then you unlock thing 5, and it's called Shadow Man. You're still here, are you? Desperate for the truth? Well, don't say I didn't warn you. When you get to the very end and you see what lies on the other side, just remember that we were trying to protect you. It's pretty weird, right? So we're just going to kick it up to hard, and we're going to play a little bit of the beginning of Shadow Man on hard. Nothing like this happens on any of the other quests, by the way. You've seen what happens on the other ones. You click the button and it just takes you into the thing.
Glory days. At the dawn of respite's end. Looking for another way. To travel around the bend. We become you. Will you become too? Look again in solitude, or worship Shadow Man.
It is like an extremely wild thing for a Minesweeper game to have a story at all. But for it to have this story with this delivery, I just think it's very... I'm very impressed with the developers for having the guts to do such a resolutely freaking weird thing, you know? And we're not going to get to the end of it, so we're not going to see the end, but something unusual does happen at the end here of Shadow Man Hard. If you can earn your way up to it, there is a little bit more. Demon Crawl in general is such a weird thing, and I really hope that I've sold a couple of people on it, because it's a fun way to spend some time, but it's also just like a really odd thing to hold in your hands and contemplate. Let's take a minute here. Let's continue holding it in our hands, continue contemplating. We're not going to finish this whole thing, but let's play another level or two. Got some glue. Guild Bond. For 10 seconds, whenever you spend coins on a stranger, you get double use. Weird that that's timed in actual seconds. And then, of course, things are a little strange now after you know about Shadow Man. I have to say, maybe it's from somewhere. Maybe they didn't write it. But I actually really love the phrase, delivered in a creepy way, the phrase, will you become too? That's like... There's... Even if it doesn't have any meaning, even if you don't have the context to give it a specific creepy meaning, there's an aesthetic of creepiness about that by itself. It's just like, that's the kind of horror I live for, man. Is this the best horror Minesweeper game? Hot take, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, yes, I think so. I think it just might be. When I first started playing it, I was a little frustrated by it, because I was like, that's a cool idea, but it's like, it's still got the Minesweeper problem in that sometimes you can lose without having done a thing wrong, Sometimes you just 50-50 yourself out of a game. And we've seen it happen a couple of times, although honestly, most of the losses on camera here have been me doing a bad. But it's really... the weird audacity of it has really grown on me. I kind of think it's something that's actually really special and cool. They put this audio track in their Minesweeper game. They did it on purpose. They looked at their hands and they said, I just realized, no one can stop us. And then they did it. Alright, good start, everybody. War's an illusion. I don't believe that. I don't think war's an illusion. War's remarkably real. Start again. Let's just go back to the lagoon. You know, the lagoon at the beginning of the glory thing. The glory thing. Get some kelp. It's all just so calm here. Perhaps we could live here forever and just forget about Shadow Man. Let's see, you're a monster. We'll just, you know, run around here and be a knight. And defeat all the monsters. With our mighty sword. With our minutes to midnight. I kind of think this is not a hot take. This is a thing that there is broad agreement about, but I mean it in a little bit of a different way than I think a lot of people do. I think we're living in a golden age of video games. I might go so far as to say there's never been a better time to be a player of video games, to be a gamer. But I think a big part of that for me is not that, like, the games are better than they used to be. Although, to be perfectly honest with you, broadly speaking, the games are better than they used to be, and in a lot of fun, cool ways. But what I'm really digging about our current age is that they're getting weirder in cooler ways. Which is not to say that old video games were never weird, because that would be a ridiculous assertion. Anybody who's ever played, or even seen, some, like, Commodore 64 era stuff knows the games have always been very weird. It's a super weird medium. But, like, this kind of thing, and Disco Elysium, and, you know, like, it's just... If you're only playing AAA games, you might not be aware of the extent to which things are getting weird. But, like, go out there in the indie scene, get on itch.io, and just, like, click around. It's a strange time. It's the strangest time to be a gamer, which makes it the best time to be a gamer. We have 5 monsters left. One of them is in this corner. One of them is right here. One of them is in one of these 2 spots. There's also a monster in these 4 cells, but it could be the same monster if it's right there. If it is, that accounts for 3 monsters, and it leaves us this much space for there to be 2 more monsters, which means that if we're going to guess, we should click around in here. Hold on, we don't have to guess. We have another one of these things going on. We know one of these 2 is a monster. Okay, so 1 monster here, 1 monster here, 1 monster there. And in fact, we know there are 3 monsters right here. 4, 5 in the corner. So actually it means this must be this monster, because we've run out of monsters now. Let's see, you... Bam, look at that. So now we have this 50-50. Are we gonna die? We could blow our revive right here. We did. That sucks. I was really hoping we were gonna take 0 or 1 damage there. Well, you know, we're making forward progress. I do not think in the long term, like in a nice long run, that Immortal is as good as Spy. We're gonna hit this shop, because after this level we're gonna have 2 shops open again. Let's see if we can get ourselves like a nice mid-range item. Whenever you gain a diamond, spawn a nomad. It's pretty bad, but we'll take it. Acupuncture is cool. Man, we really spawned some stuff we could not afford there. Oh hey, this stage is aching. The aching... You know, welcome to the aching galaxy. Feels like home already. There's a slightly different perspective out here. Okay, you're a monster. One of you 2 is, you are not. One of you 2 is, so one of you 2 is, so these are safe. This 1 is also solved in the same way. This 2 is also solved. So we've gotten a lot of information here so far. This 3... It could be the case that the monsters are here and here. We don't know for sure that this 1 is solved, so we can't make anything out of that. Let's see. Where can we make something? Okay, we have a 1-2-1 here. And look at that, I even executed it right. Most of the time, when people lose a game of Minesweeper, they lose it due to having made a mental mistake or having had to make a guess and making the guess wrong. There are very few people you will ever meet who failed at Minesweeper on an execution level. But that right there, that's the special gaming prowess that your buddy SB brings to the table every single day, and I do that for you. 2 of these 3, 2 of these 3. There's a whole bunch of places here where every third cell there's one thing that's not a monster, but we have no idea how to deduce where that would be. One of these 2 is a monster, which makes one of these 3 a monster, which doesn't tell us anything. Uh-oh. Oh, here, we know this. That's interesting. It doesn't help, but it's interesting. Okay. 2 of these 4. Then 2 of these 3. No, that doesn't mean anything. Because it's possible that these 2 numbers are sharing 1 or 2 or 0 flagged monsters. Sorry, it can't be 0. Yeah, but it could be 1 or 2, and that doesn't solve any of the cells for us. So we're gonna have to guess. I guess here. Ooh, bad guess. My pain is heard for miles. That happens sometimes. So the sad part is that a failed guess there doesn't actually even tell us anything. There we go. We had to guess twice because we failed to guess right the first time. Pretty bad. You are a monster, so you can't be a monster, so you are. That gives us quite a bit of information right there. Now we've made it out, we had to pay the price. Convert target stranger or monster into a landmark. Well, landmarks are usually signs, but occasionally you get like an obelisk or something. Diamonds are worth 5 coins. That's not even really a tip. When you pick up a diamond, it tells you it's worth 5 coins. Let's see. Oh, we know this. That helps. Know this. Okay, this is going to give us this whole column. My dominance spreading out throughout the land has undone the harm that we did by getting hit. Yeah. If you get an aching stage like just early enough for it to still be fairly straightforward, but late enough for it to be large, you can in fact reduce the total power of all other stages by a huge amount, an amount that really makes a difference in your survivability. I'm not sure that we got quite that timing, unfortunately. Boy, I do not like all these 4s. This is not working very well for us. If only we were a spy right now. So this 1 is solved already, right? We know one of those 2 must be a monster, so we can actually make a bunch of stuff happen here. Okay, that's interesting. We may survive this stage. And then we'll do like 1 more after this. Just to give me a chance to really ruin everything. It's important. Alright. We have 1 health. And absolutely nothing going for us. We have no money at all somehow. A light at the end of the tunnel here in the Nightmare Womb. You know what? Maybe we could just call it there, huh? Why don't we just say goodbye to the Shadow Man, or worship the Shadow Man? Listen, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. That's going to be it for us for today, and for the series. This was a lot of fun for me. I hope it was a lot of fun for you all. It's been real weird, and that makes me very happy. Come back next time, tomorrow, for all the normal stuff we normally do, plus also a little ripping, a little tearing. And we'll see you then.